Is
But
this
if someone
record?
No, it was an exhibit that's public record.
Can we show this? Or?
Oh yes, you can show it.
So like,
Absolutely.
so I don't know if people can see this.
And
but
it's pages of that.
This is an entire page of every single word on the page redacted, and there's pages of it.
This is your transparent Securities Exchange Commission.
Holy moly.
And I want to thank the ranking member as well, Mrs. Waters, for her work on putting this committee together, this hearing together. Members on both sides of the aisle have been keenly interested in the development of a retail central bank digital currency. And China's domestic retail central bank digital currency pilot, known as the ECNY, or the digital yuan, has received a lot of focus from Congress recently as a challenge to the primacy of the United States dollar, and also as a full-spectrum surveillance tool for the Chinese government. However, usage of the digital yuan has so far remained very low, as consumers seem to be sticking with private payments ecosystems, including Alipay and WeChat Pay. There's been little focus, however, on mBridge, which is the cross-border bank-to-bank wholesale CBDC pilot that's being conducted by 4 countries, including China, which is the lead. I think it's Hong Kong, Thailand, and one of the countries in the Middle East. I'm blanking on it right now. But there are 7 more countries that have received offers to join. And mBridge, as you know, operates outside of SWIFT and the existing correspondent banking system, and could be a tool for sanctions evasion and other financial crimes. Mr. Harrell, how concerned should we be in Congress about China's central bank digital currency pilot project, and why?
Thank you, Congressman, for the question. I agree with you. It's been interesting to see on the domestic uptake in China of the ECNY how little interest there is. Now, Chinese consumers, probably because they don't actually want the Chinese central bank seeing everything they buy, are trying to stay outside of the ECNY. We obviously have a limited ability to affect the domestic deployment of a digital RMB in China. I think you are right to focus on the cross-border payments. I don't think that China and RMB-denominated payment rails displacing the dollar is going to be a challenge of the next 6 to 12 months, but I do think it's a midterm challenge. We've seen Russia with the Mir payment system try to create rails outside of Russia as we've put sanctions on Russia, and you see China trying to do exactly the same thing with its cross-border payment strategy. I think it is essential that we, as the U.S. government and this committee with jurisdiction on this issue, promote a strategy to maintain the preeminence of the U.S. dollar as the primary currency for reserve purposes and for international payments. And I think that's going to require us to both be competitive on our end. What can we do to make the dollar attractive? And it's going to require us to throw some sand in the gears of efforts by the Chinese and other countries like Russia to try to build out these alternative payment rails.
I'm thinking about, and I appreciate your response, but when we think of this as a global problem, the idea that we could ally with other countries that have the integrity of the SWIFT system and operate within that system, how could we partner with them? What could we do here to strengthen the SWIFT system? If not, I don't know if we could get buy-in from many of our allies to increase the strength of the U.S. dollar, but I do think we could get buy-in to increase the integrity and the affinity for operating within the SWIFT system, which would push back on this attempt by the Chinese and the Russians to adopt a different set of rails. What could we do to encourage or strengthen the SWIFT system?
So I'd make Two comments, one in the SWIFT system, one outside. They're sort of parallel to the SWIFT system. First, the Federal Reserve has an active program underway to try to speed up U.S. dollar payments that are currently going through the existing Federal Reserve organized payment rails. And I think that's really important because payments internationally can be slow, and we need to make sure that they are working faster so that people want to continue to use the existing system. And so I think what the Fed is doing is important, and then also putting friendly pressure on SWIFT and on the banks and their correspondent sort of relationships to make sure payments are sped up there too is another important area of work.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Gentlemen's time's expired. We'll now recognize the Vice Chair of the full committee, Mr. Hill of Arkansas, for 5 minutes.
The U.S. dollar is about to get a replacement if the government doesn't step up and make the dollar attractive. For years, the dollar has been under attack as the Asian market tries to overpower the American nations. But now, there's a clear threat. That's because the U.S. uses the SWIFT system, which, needless to say, is old school and flawed. The only true option the U.S. has is XRP, which is about to get relisted by Coinbase. Yep, you heard that right. But before we get down to all that, let's roll that intro. As always, welcome to Moneyside, your favorite crypto channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you get updates when we drop new videos. Don't forget to smash that like button. You can always leave a question or a comment in the section below. The U.S. has been behind the Asian market for quite a while now. And that's because the American soil doesn't offer conducive environments for new tech advances to flourish. The case in point, Ripple. The government, under the guise of the SEC, has tried its very best to take down Ripple just because they have a technology the government wants. What I fail to understand is why they can't work together with the company, because then they already have the technology to put the U.S. dollar back on the map.
It was literally 4 years ago this week that Bill Hinman, the director of corporate finance at the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, gave a speech saying that ETH was not a security. And by the way, let me be clear. I do not think ETH is a security. I don't think XRP is a security. 4 years have gone by, and we still don't have clarity about how the SEC is going to say what is and is not a security. And worse, actually, now the SEC, the current chair, Gensler, is really walking back the statement around ETH, and that he has been asked directly, is ETH a security? He won't answer the question. Like, how can we be competitive in the United States in an industry where a primary regulator will not provide that clarity? The vast, vast, vast majority of people want to do right by the rules, but you got to know where the rules are, right? Tribalism in crypto is holding us all back. Like, we just got to stop it. Like, we have to, like, we're all the same team right now.
LBRY tweeted out Coinbase should relist XRP. Under the SEC versus LBRY standard, XRP sold by secondary holders are not considered a security. And Johnny, we got an article I want to dive into, but before we do, what do you think about these blanket statements and the fact that LBRY is defending XRP against the SEC's trial?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know Brad Garghouse is happy to the pig and that's exactly what he's been asking for. It's very interesting that LBRY is coming out and saying that now. I guess they feel confident that the SEC is off their back to come out and stick a thumb in their eye with this comment.
LBRY just announced that Coinbase should relist XRP because under their terms, XRP is not a security, which I think we should all take this into consideration. The only reason Coinbase delisted XRP is because they didn't want to cross the SEC. Unfortunately, throughout all this time, the SEC has failed to provide regulatory clarity, claiming that they are still trying to work out the kinks, which, for lack of a better word, sounds like complete bull. The SEC are stalling so that the government can finally catch up to Ripple and launch their very own CBDC network. But that's not such a bad thing. Even if the government doesn't want to work with Ripple, other countries still can work with this company. And according to Jeremy Hogan, we are close to the finish line. Ripple has been fighting the good fight for the whole crypto network, and we need to applaud them for that. And if they lose this case, we can expect nothing but chaos to happen across the entire crypto network. And that could potentially lead to the next biggest collapse, that after FTX. Only a few crypto will survive, and I think whether or not Ripple wins this case, XRP will survive the coming storm. The true question is whether you will invest in the winning side or not. Cryptos, such as Bitcoin, will likely not survive what's going to happen next. I know that's going to get me a lot of hate mail from Bitcoin lovers, but hey, let's speak the truth. Apart from the coming halving, and that's going to happen, what else is driving Bitcoin's price? The answer to that question will give outright show to the future of XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. As always, do your own research and always trade safely, guys. We offer our prayers for peace for the survivors and recovery from the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. Please keep in mind, we're not a licensed financial advisor. All videos on this channel are intended for entertainment purposes only. Let us know what you think in the comment section below, and let's have a conversation. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, and please click on that subscribe button below and turn on notifications so you get informed whenever we post our amazing content. Thanks again, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next Money Side.